Close your eyes and imagine Rome. October 16th, 1978. The sun bathes St. Peter's Square, where thousands gather, nuns in white veils, families with children, reporters with notebooks. Their eyes lock on a balcony high above. A man steps out, his white robe shimmering, his face calm but strong. He's not a president, not a movie star, but a priest from a small town in Poland. His name is Karol Wojtyła, now Pope John Paul II, the first non-Italian pope in 455 years. He raises his hand, and the crowd roars, their cheers echoing through Rome's ancient streets. He speaks 3 words, "Be not afraid." Those words fly across oceans, spark hope in millions, and change the course of history. Now, go back to 1920, to Wadowice, Poland, a quiet town of cobblestone paths and wooden homes. A boy named Karol, nicknamed Lolek, chases a soccer ball, his laughter bright as the morning light. He's no one special, just a kid with dreams of books, plays, and adventure. But life tests him early. He loses his mother, his brother, his father. War tears his country apart, and soldiers steal his freedom. Yet, this boy grows to stand before the world, leading a church, challenging empires, and inspiring hearts. How does someone so ordinary become so extraordinary? His story is about courage, faith, and never giving up. Lessons that speak to you as you learn English. Learning a language is like climbing a mountain. Each word, each step, takes effort. Maybe you're studying English to travel, find a job, or share your ideas with the world. John Paul II's journey shows that even the biggest dreams start small. From Poland's snowy hills to America's cheering crowds, he proved anyone can make a difference. Let's follow his path and find that courage together. Are you ready? Chapter 1. A Boy in Wadowice. In 1920, Wadowice, Poland, hums with simple life. Horse carts clatter down narrow streets, and the scent of warm bread drifts from a bakery near the Wojtyła family's modest home. On May 18th, Karol, called Lolek, is born, the youngest of 3 children. His mother, Emilia, sings lullabies, her voice wrapping him in love. His father, Karol Sr., a retired soldier, kneels with him in prayer, their hands clasped in the dim light. Lolek is a burst of energy, racing through green fields, skiing down snowy hills, and kicking a soccer ball with friends until the stars appear. At school, he shines, devouring books, scribbling poems, and memorizing lines for plays. Theater is his passion. He stands on makeshift stages, acting out stories of Polish kings, dreaming of moving hearts. But joy fades fast. At 9, Emilia grows weak and dies. The house feels hollow, her songs gone. Lolek hides his tears, but his chest aches. At 12, his older brother Edmund, a gentle doctor who bandaged Lolek's scraped knees, catches a patient's disease and passes away. Lolek sits in Wadowice's stone church, staring at a wooden cross, his mind full of questions. Why does pain keep coming? His father becomes his anchor, cooking potato soup, telling tales of Polish heroes who fought for freedom. But in 1941, when Lolek is 20, his father collapses, his heart stopping. Lolek finds him, cold on the bed, the silence deafening. Now alone, he kneels, tears soaking the floor, but a quiet voice inside whispers, "You are enough." Poland turns dark. In 1939, Nazi tanks roll in, banning schools, burning books, and spreading fear. Lolek enrolls at Jagiellonian University in Krakow to study Polish literature, but the Nazis shut it down. To avoid arrest, he works in a quarry, hauling heavy stones under a gray sky. His hands blister, his back aches, and hunger gnaws at him. At night, he slips into secret theater groups, performing Polish plays in hidden basements to keep his culture alive. One icy day, he spots a Jewish girl, thin and shivering, fleeing soldiers. Her eyes are wide with fear. Lolek hands her his lunch, a crusty sandwich, and walks her to a safe train, his heart pounding. He could be shot, but he feels alive, like this is what he's meant to do. In the quarry, a kind worker pulls him aside. "God has a plan for you, Carol," he says, his voice steady. Those words sink deep. Lolek reads about faith, feeling a pull to serve God. At 22, he joins a secret seminary, studying by candlelight, hiding from Nazi patrols. Every night, he prays for strength, knowing one mistake could mean death. He's not a saint, just a young man choosing hope over despair. Loss can feel like a storm stealing what you love, but it can also shape you. Have you ever faced a moment that hurt, yet pushed you to grow? Maybe a tough English word you stumbled over, a lost chance, or a day you felt alone. Carol's story shows that even in the darkest times, one brave choice can light your path. Chapter 2. A Priest in a War-Torn Land. It's 1942, and Poland is a cage. Nazi soldiers march through Krakow, their boots loud on cobblestone streets. Carol, now 22, hurries to a secret seminary, hidden in a damp basement. He clutches books, his breath catching when he hears shouts outside. If caught, he'll be sent to a camp, or worse. By flickering candlelight, he studies theology, memorizing Bible verses, his fingers cold. Fear whispers in his ear, but faith shouts louder. He dreams of helping people, of bringing light to a world of shadows. In 1946, the war ends, and Carol, at 26, becomes a priest. He stands in a wooden church in a small village, his black robe swaying, his voice warm as he says Mass. Farmers, bakers, and mothers crowd the pews, drawn to his kindness. They share their struggles, empty pantries, lost sons, broken homes, and Carol listens, his words like a gentle hand. "God is with you," he says, and their eyes brighten. Soon, he travels to Rome to study, walking past ancient ruins, learning about God's love and human dignity. Back in Poland, he teaches at a university, his classroom alive with students. He speaks of freedom, truth, and love, his ideas sparking hope. He learns English, French, Spanish, Italian, languages to unite people across borders. But Poland's chains tighten. After the Nazis, communists take over, banning free speech, closing churches, and arresting priests. Karol, now a young leader, stands firm. In 1958, at 38, he's named a bishop, the youngest in Poland. His black robe is simple, but his courage is fierce. "I'm not afraid of them," he tells a friend, his smile sharp. "They're afraid of me." He rides bumpy roads to villages, praying with families in cramped homes, urging them to hold faith close. The government spies tapping his phone, but his laughter rings free, untouchable. In 1962, Karol joins Vatican II in Rome, a historic meeting to renew the Catholic Church. Among hundreds of bishops, his voice cuts through. He speaks of human rights. Every person deserves respect, no matter their place or power. His ideas help shape new church teachings, opening doors to the modern world. Back in Poland, he's made archbishop, then cardinal in 1967, at 47. In red robes, he hikes with students through misty mountains, sings Polish folk songs, and prays under starry skies. He's still Lolek, but now a beacon for a nation under chains. Carol's bravery is a fire, warming hearts, burning tyrants. He shows that speaking truth takes courage, even when the world says no. Have you ever stood up for something right, even if your voice shook? Maybe a new English phrase you fought to say, or a belief you held tight. Carol's story says one voice can start a revolution. Chapter 3. A Pope from Poland. October 16th, 1978, is a day the world holds its breath. St. Peter's Square in Rome overflows with people, nuns in white, fathers hoisting children, reporters scribbling fast. White smoke curls from a Vatican chimney, signaling a new pope. When Karol Wojtyła echoes, gasps ripple through the crowd. A Polish pope? The first non-Italian in 455 years. At 58, he steps onto the balcony as Pope John Paul II, his smile wide as the horizon. He speaks in Italian, then Polish. "Open your hearts to Christ." Cheers shake the square, some weeping, others hugging strangers. A new era begins. John Paul II is no ordinary pope. He's young, athletic, with a poet's soul and a skier's strength. He doesn't hide in the Vatican. He runs to the world. In 1979, he visits Ireland, Mexico, and the United States. In New York, Yankee Stadium packs 80,000 people, their flags waving like a colorful sea. "You are made for greatness," he calls, his voice booming like a preacher's. Americans roar, their hearts swelling. He's no distant figure. He's a friend, his Polish accent warm, his laugh contagious. At the White House, he grips President Carter's hand, the first pope to visit. Crowds line Washington streets chanting, "John Paul." As his motorcade passes, their voices a wave of joy. His boldest journey is to Poland, June 1979. Communism strangles his homeland, banning free speech and crushing hope. The government fears him but can't say no. When his plane lands in Warsaw, 1 million people flood the streets holding flowers, waving Polish flags, singing hymns. They shout, "We want God." John Paul II kneels, kisses the soil, tears streaming down his face. In Victory Square, he preaches to a sea of faces. "You are not slaves, you are children of God." His words are lightning, waking a nation. Solidarity, a movement of workers, teachers, and families, rises, demanding freedom. Communist leaders tremble, sensing a tide they can't stop. Back in Rome, John Paul II works late, writing letters, meeting kings, praying in a small chapel lit by a single candle. He's a voice for those silenced, a light for those lost. His call to stand tall echoes in America, where freedom is a heartbeat. If you could speak to the world, what would you say? A new English word, a hope, a dream. John Paul II chose courage, and his mission was just beginning. Chapter 4. A Bullet in the Square. It's May 13th, 1981, a warm spring day in Rome. St. Peter's Square hums with pilgrims, their voices a soft chorus. John Paul II rides in an open jeep, waving, his white robe catching the breeze. He leans down, blessing a toddler held high by her mother, his smile gentle. Suddenly, a sharp crack splits the air. Another follows. Blood blooms on his chest, his hand, his robe. He collapses, eyes fluttering shut. Mehmet Ali Agca, a Turkish gunman, has shot him. Screams pierce the square, pilgrims dropping to their knees, praying through tears. Guards rush him to Gemelli Hospital, sirens wailing through Rome's narrow streets. Radios buzz worldwide, fear gripping hearts from New York to Nairobi. In the operating room, doctors fight for 6 hours, their hands steady, but faces tense. John Paul II lies pale, his breath faint, tubes trailing from his arms. He murmurs, "I forgive him," his voice barely a whisper. A nurse pauses, stunned. "Forgive the man who tried to kill him?" Outside, millions pray. In churches, homes, city squares. In New York, St. Patrick's Cathedral fills with candles. In Warsaw, people kneel in the rain. After days, he survives, saying the Virgin Mary guided the bullet away from his heart. He ties it to Fatima, a 1917 vision of Mary, the the same date as the attack. His faith deepens, like a river carving stone. In 1983, John Paul II does what few can imagine. He walks into a dim prison cell in Rome to meet Aga. Guards stand frozen as he sits, grasping the gunman's hand. "I forgive you," he says, his eyes kind but unwavering. Aga, a man trained to kill, stares at the floor, unable to speak. A photo captures it. A pope and his enemy, side by side. The world marvels. Forgiveness isn't weakness. It's a mountain of strength. Pilgrims visit the spot in St. Peter's Square where he fell, touching a small plaque, feeling his grace. Forgiving is hard, like learning a new English word after stumbling. It takes practice, patience. Have you ever let go of anger, a friend's lie, a family argument, or a mistake you made? John Paul II's story shows that love can heal what hate tears apart, giving you freedom to grow. Chapter 5. Breaking Down Walls. By 1984, John Paul II is back, his scars hidden under his robe. He travels the world, Africa's dusty villages, Asia's bustling cities, America's wide plains. In 1987, he visits South Carolina, where 60,000 pack a stadium, braving thick, humid air. "Build a world of peace," he urges, his Polish accent clear, his voice steady. Americans cheer, waving Stars and Stripes flags, their faces glowing. He launches World Youth Day, a global festival for young Catholics. In Denver, 1993, 500,000 teens and young adults camp under Colorado's starry skies, singing, praying, chanting, JP2. He stands before them, his hands raised, saying, "Dream without fear. You are the future." American youth return home changed, ready to lead, their hearts lit with purpose. In Poland, his 1,979 words still burn bright. Solidarity grows. Workers strike in shipyards, mothers march in streets, students write pamphlets. John Paul II sends secret letters, prayers, even funds to support them. In 1989, Poland holds free elections, and communism crumbles. The Berlin Wall falls, its bricks scattering like old fears. By 1991, the Soviet Union dissolves, its red flag lowered. From his small Vatican office, John Paul II helped topple an empire, not with armies, but with hope. Leaders like Ronald Reagan and Margaret Thatcher call him a giant. He smiles, pointing to God, his humility as strong as his voice. He builds other bridges. In 2000, he visits Jerusalem, slipping a handwritten prayer into the Western Wall, a sacred Jewish site. He apologizes for centuries of Christian wrongs, his voice cracking, tears in his eyes. Crowds watch, silent, moved. He enters a Damascus mosque, the first pope to do so, removing his shoes, bowing his head. Muslims nod, their hands clasped in respect. Some criticize his strict views on women's roles, on family laws, saying he clings to old ways. Others want faster church change, but his heart stays open, his arms wide, inviting all to talk. Walls block us all, fear, doubt, or dreams that feel too big. Learning English can feel like a wall, each new word a heavy brick. Have you ever pushed past a barrier, like mastering a tricky phrase or chasing a goal others doubted? John Paul II's story says one step, one word, can crack any wall wide open. Chapter 6. A Suffering Servant. In the 1990s, John Paul II's hands begin to tremble. His voice, once a trumpet, softens to a slurred whisper. Parkinson's disease creeps in, curving his back, slowing his steps. By 2000, he leans on a cane, then rolls in a wheelchair. The man who skied Poland's mountains and hiked with students now struggles to lift a pen. Yet, he refuses to stop. "Suffering is my prayer," he says, his eyes shining like lanterns in the dark. He visits Cuba, meeting Fidel Castro in Havana's humid air, and India, praying with Hindus under ancient trees. Pain claws at him, but he smiles for crowds, his love stronger than his body. In 2000, he leads the Great Jubilee, a year to celebrate faith and renewal. He shuffles to St. Peter's Basilica, his hands shaking as he opens a holy door, millions watching worldwide. His face, lined with pain, glows with joy. He writes books, like Crossing the Threshold of Hope, sharing his thoughts on God and life. He names 482 saints, more than any pope in history, and meets young people, his frail hand blessing their foreheads. Their cheers lift him, their voices a song. Critics say he moved too slowly on church scandals, like priests who hurt others. Supporters see a man giving his life, as he did in Poland's quarry, his heart poured out for others. By 2005, his body is failing. In February, flu chokes his lungs, sending him to hospitals again and again. On March 31st, he appears at his Vatican window trying to speak to thousands below. His voice fails, but he mouths, "I am with you." His eyes bright with love. The crowd holds candles, singing hymns, their voices carrying through Rome's streets. On April 2nd, 2005, he takes his last breath at 84, nuns at his side chanting prayers. The world stops. Over 3 million people flood Rome for his funeral, the largest gathering ever. They wave signs, "Santo subito," Saint now. Presidents, kings, and ordinary workers stand shoulder to shoulder, honoring a man who loved them all. Pain can feel like a storm, drowning your strength. But it can also forge you. Have you ever turned a hard moment, a failed test, a loss, a tough English lesson, into growth? John Paul II's story shows that even in weakness, you can shine, your heart a light for others. Chapter 7. A Saint for the World. In 2011, a French nun wakes, her Parkinson's gone, after praying to John Paul II. In 2013, a Costa Rican woman survives a brain aneurysm, her family thanking his intercession. These miracles lead to his canonization on April 27, 2014. Pope Francis declares him St. John Paul II, and church bells ring from Rome to New York. His feast day, October 22nd, echoes his first words as Pope, "Be not afraid." From a boy in Wadowice to a pope who traveled 725,000 miles across 129 countries, he showed that faith and courage can change the world. Americans hold his visits close. In 1979, he filled Yankee Stadium, his voice urging freedom, 80,000 cheering under New York's bright lights. In 1987, he spoke in South Carolina, calling 60,000 to peace, their applause shaking the humid air. In 1993, he inspired Denver's youth at World Youth Day, 500,000 camping under starry skies, chanting his name. His message, "Live for love, not money," challenged America to rise higher. He wasn't perfect. Some wanted faster church reforms or different views, but his life spoke louder, a testament to grit and grace. Think of his journey: a child who lost his family, a priest who defied Nazis and communists, a pope who forgave his shooter. He launched World Youth Day, uniting millions of young hearts. He helped end communism, his words toppling walls from Warsaw to Berlin. He faced Parkinson's with a smile, showing pain can be a prayer. His cry, "Be not afraid," pushes you to try. One new English word, one kind act, one dream you've set aside. Learning English takes courage, like his steps through war, bullets, and illness. What's one brave move you can make today? A phrase you've stumbled on, a friend you can help, a goal you've paused. Thank you for joining. English Awakens. Subscribe to grow your English and your heart. Share this story with someone who needs a spark of courage. Try a new word today. Let it be your "be not afraid." Let's learn, dream, and shine together.